The stars were quiet. Ships passed through space lanes, and planets kept turning like always. In the heart of the galaxy, the Empire ruled over thousands of systems. For centuries, they believed they were the strongest power. Their fleets were massive, their weapons advanced, and their enemies feared their name. But deep beyond the edge of explored space, something was moving, something the Empire did not see coming. On the Empire's border, a listening post picked up a strange signal. It was weak and short, just a few seconds of coded message. The officer on duty frowned and checked it again. It didn't match any known language in the Empire's database. Probably space static, he said, and ignored it. A week later, another outpost received a similar message. This time, it was longer. The signal was clearer, and part of it sounded like a warning. The message was, "Do not engage. This is a peaceful approach. We only respond when attacked." The Empire's High Command received the report. They dismissed it as a prank or a pirate signal. They had no idea that this message was real. It came from Earth. The humans had stayed quiet for a long time. While other species rushed to join the Galactic Council, humans kept to themselves. They watched from the shadows, learned quietly, and only spoke when needed. Many in the council thought humans were slow, backward, or unworthy of attention. They didn't know that humans were building something powerful and hidden. One peaceful morning, a small human scout ship entered Imperial space. Near a system called Zel-9, the Empire had a mining colony there, and a patrol fleet guarding it. When the scout ship appeared, the fleet locked weapons immediately. The scout ship sent a message in a calm voice. "This is the Terran Alliance. We mean no harm. We are exploring peaceful contact." But the Imperial Admiral didn't care. He believed humans were weak and stupid. "Destroy that ship," he ordered. The fleet opened fire, but the scout ship didn't explode. Instead, it vanished. Not into pieces, but into thin air, like it had never existed. Moments later, every ship in the Imperial Patrol lost power. Their engines shut down. Their lights went out. And one by one, they began to drift. The mining colony's command center received a brief message before everything went black. "You fired first. We are not like you." By the time the Empire sent a rescue team, there was nothing left. The fleet was gone. The colony was silent. No signs of life, no damage. Just emptiness. High Command was shocked. They had no idea what had happened. They sent out messages to nearby systems and raised alert levels. But still, they did not believe this was the work of humans. They blamed a rogue anomaly. Perhaps a weapon test from another empire. Not Earth. Never Earth. Meanwhile, back on Earth, the leaders of the Terran Alliance sat in a quiet room beneath the surface. They had watched the incident in silence. They hadn't wanted war. But they had promised themselves long ago, if any empire ever attacked them without cause, they would not hold back. A woman in a gray suit, the head of Terran Defense, spoke in a calm voice. "They fired first. We gave them a warning. Now we send a signal." Her team nodded. They pressed a few buttons. Across the stars, silent ships powered up. Cloaked in deep space, hidden behind moons and gas clouds, the Terran fleet had been waiting for years. Now it began to move. The Empire was still unaware of the danger. The Emperor sat in his golden throne and laughed at the reports. "Humans," he said, "what can they do? Send our grand fleet to the border. Remind them who rules the stars." And so, the Empire sent thousands of warships to the Outer Rim. Massive destroyers, carriers, cruisers, all armed and ready. They spread out across many systems, looking for signs of human ships. But they found nothing. Until one day, a single Terran ship appeared on sensors near the system of Graal-Tor. It didn't move. It didn't run. It just waited. The Imperial Admiral, in charge of that sector, saw the ship and smiled. "Finally," he said, "we found one." Ordered his ships to surround the Terran vessel. The human ship still didn't move. It sent a short message. "We offered peace. This is your last chance." The admiral laughed and ordered an attack. Before the Imperial ships could fire, the Terran ship disappeared. Not just from sight, but from every scanner, every reading. Then suddenly, it appeared again right behind the flagship. A soft, hum-filled space. One by one, the Imperial ships began to fall. It's not explode fall, as if pulled by gravity, twisted by something unseen. Weapons stopped working, engines failed, shields vanished, and then silence. From hundreds of ships, only one survived, a admiral's flagship, and even that one was disabled, floating in space. The admiral stared out the window, his mouth open, eyes wide with fear. The human ship hovered in front of him, and from its screen a human face appeared. The man was smiling. "We tried peace," he said. "You chose war." Then the screen went dark. The flagship was allowed to return home. It was the Empire's first real message from Earth. Back on the Imperial capital, panic spread. Nobles and generals shouted in meetings. The Emperor's voice shook as he demanded answers. How did they do this? Where's their fleet? Why can't we see them? No one had answers. The humans were still moving. It's not fast, not loud, but steady. They didn't destroy planets. They didn't take prisoners. They just disabled what they touched. They broke fleets with silence and precision. Every move felt planned. Every step felt cold. Soon, rumors began to spread in the Empire. People whispered about the Terran's ghost ships, invisible fleets, weapons that didn't make noise. Fear grew like wildfire. In the outer colonies, governors began to pull back troops without orders. They didn't want to be next. In one of the Empire's military schools, a young cadet stared at a map. He saw red marks where fleets used to be. Gone. He looked at his teacher and asked, "What are humans?" The teacher didn't answer, but had closed the map. The Empire sent more ships, larger ones, faster ones. They carried stronger shields, longer-range weapons, and officers with orders to shoot on sight. They searched the stars like angry hunters, but no one found the Terran fleet. It was like chasing shadows. In deep space, far from known paths, the Terran fleet moved silently. Their ships didn't need to follow usual routes. They folded space in a way that most species couldn't even understand. Their technology wasn't just advanced, it was different. Some called it impossible, but for humans, it was normal. On the Empire's capital world, the Emperor sat in his war chamber, listening to another report. The admiral who had survived the last attack stood stiffly, still pale, still shaken. His voice was flat. "We never saw their weapons. Our shields failed instantly, never boarded. They didn't need to." The Emperor slammed his fist on the table. "Cowardice. You didn't fight hard enough." The admiral looked at the floor. He knew arguing was useless. But deep inside, he feared the Emperor was wrong. This wasn't about courage. It was about understanding. And the Empire didn't understand these humans at all. While the Empire argued and blamed each other, the Terrans sent no more messages. They didn't explain. They didn't threaten. Simply kept moving through space. It's like a silent wave approaching the shore. In a trading system near the border, merchants noticed strange signals. A few freighters went missing, and a station went dark. Nearby patrols sent drones, but they came back with broken, data-blurry images, twisted sounds, and signs of sudden power loss. The Empire sent a scout team. The scout ship entered the system and was never seen again. Panic started to rise, not just in the military, but among civilians. News began to leak about missing colonies, lost fleets, and that one surviving admiral's warning. Soon, the streets of the Empire's cities buzzed with fear. The Terrans are coming. They don't speak. They just make you vanish. Some called them ghosts. Others said they used dark energy or ancient forbidden tech. A few thought they were not human at Albet machines, but on Earth. The humans were just watching. Inside a quiet command room under the surface, the Terran Council met again. The woman in the gray suit stood at the front. Behind her, screens showed every corner of Imperial space. "They still don't understand," she said. "They think we want their throne. We don't." A man near her nodded. "But they keep sending fleets. Sooner or later, One might get lucky. She looked at him. Then we send a reminder. Small group of ships, just 5, were selected. They were fast, invisible to most scanners, and carried no deadly weapons. Instead, they carried what Terrans called silence beacons. The beacons didn't explode, they didn't fire. They simply disabled technology in a wide area, turning ships, stations, and weapons into useless metal. The 5 ships slipped into the Empire's core. Systems 1 appeared near a military command base. The beacon activated. Within seconds, every weapon, ship, and device on the base shut down. No lights, no power, no way to call for help. Then the Terran ship left. In another system, a Terran ship passed by a large Imperial station. It didn't stop. It didn't attack. But as it moved, the station's systems failed: gravity, air control, power cores. The station had to be evacuated. This happened again and again. 5 ships, 5 systems, 5 total blackouts. No deaths. It's just silence. Finally, the Emperor started to understand. Fear gripped his heart, but he would not show it. Instead, he ordered the creation of a new planet trap. He called it Operation Iron Net. The Empire would bait the Terrans by sending false signals of weakness. Then, once the humans came close, the fleet would strike from hidden positions. Ships were placed in deep orbit, cloaked by fields powered by rare crystals. Weapons were charged. 1,000,000 soldiers waited. The Empire was ready, but the Terrans didn't come. They already knew, from a distance. Hidden far beyond normal scanners, Terran ships watched the trap unfold. They mapped it. They studied it. They didn't move forward. They simply smiled. Weeks passed. The Empire waited, but no human ships appeared. Finally, the Emperor grew tired, ordered his fleets to strike instead. "Go to Earth," he said. "End this. Burn their cities." A huge force was gathered, over 10,000 warships. They jumped toward Earth, ready to fight. But when they arrived, they found nothing. Earth wasn't there. Not because it was destroyed, but because they couldn't see it. Every scanner showed a black void. The planet was cloaked. And then, one by one, Imperial ships began to vanish. They weren't destroyed. They were taken. On board each Terran ship, the humans studied the captured enemy crews. They were not cruel. They treated the prisoners well. They fed them. They gave them blankets. They asked questions, but they never revealed their true strength. The Empire had lost nearly half its armada. Still, the Terrans hadn't fired a single shot in open war. On the capital world, riots started. Citizens demanded answers. Governors fled. Some colonies declared they would no longer follow the Empire's orders. Everything was falling apart, and above them in the dark sky a single message appeared. Not on screens. It's not on networks, but in the stars themselves. A formation of Terran ships moved into place, forming a pattern that could be seen from the planet's surface. It spelled one word in Imperial language: enough. The message caused shock across the Empire. People knelt in fear, others wept. Even the Emperor fell silent. He knew. They all knew. The Terrans weren't attacking. They were warning. And were doing it with power the Empire could not match. The Emperor stood alone on his balcony, looking at the stars. The sky had always made him feel powerful, like he ruled the heavens. But now, those stars felt different. They felt cold, silent, dangerous. He remembered the word that appeared above. His capital planet, enough. Just one word, spelled out by human ships. No explosions, no fire, no screams. Just a quiet signal that told the whole galaxy the humans were done playing games. The Empire had lost fleets, stations, and control. But the humans still hadn't destroyed any planets. They had the power. Everyone saw it, yet they didn't use it to conquer. That scared the Emperor even more. In the war chamber, his advisors argued. Some wanted peace. Others wanted to strike back, but no one had a clear plan. Everything they tried before had failed. "We can't find their main fleet," one general said. "We don't even know what kind of energy powers their systems." "We must build a new weapon," another said. "Something they've never seen." The Emperor raised his hand. The room fell silent. What do the Terrans want? He asked. No one answered. He looked around. They could have taken our worlds. They didn't. They could have ended our empire. They didn't. So why are they here? Again, no answer. Just silence and nervous faces. Meanwhile, far from the Empire's core, a small human team landed on a quiet Imperial moon. The surface was cold and rocky, with old mining machines rusting under the weak sun. The humans moved carefully, wearing light suits and carrying no weapons. A young Imperial farmer watched from behind a rock. He had stayed behind after the mines were closed. He expected soldiers, but instead, he saw the humans place a small metal box into the ground.
I pressed
A button, and a soft blue light blinked. Then they left. After they were gone, the farmer walked to the box. It wasn't a bomb, it was a gift. The box had food, clean water, medicine, and a small device that showed images of earth-green trees, clean oceans, smiling children, and peaceful cities. The message was clear. Humans didn't come to destroy. But the Empire didn't see that. They were blind with pride in another part of the galaxy. The Empire sent a secret fleet through an old smuggler's route. They planned to reach Earth without being seen. The ships were covered with stealth tech and filled with elite soldiers. They were told to capture a human city, take prisoners, send a message back. But when they arrived, they found something strange. There was no city, no land, no planet. Instead, they found a massive structure floating in space. It wasn't a station. It wasn't a ship. It was both. A huge ring with its own gravity, weather, and ecosystems. Forests grew on its inner surface. Rivers flowed through towns. Lights blinked across its edge. It was called the Terror Ring, and it was watching them, eh? Voice echoed through their ships. Calm, human, you are not welcome here. Leave, or we will respond. The Imperial commander ordered the fleet to hold position. He didn't fire. Not yet. He wanted to see more. That was a mistake. The Terror Ring didn't fire either. It just opened. A crack appeared in space right in front of the Imperial fleet. From that crack, dozens of human ships appeared. They didn't rush. They didn't shout. They just surrounded the Empire's fleet slowly. Like a net closing around a fish, the Imperial commander shouted, "Prepare shields." But the shields didn't work. Then he yelled, "Activate weapons." Nothing happened. His entire fleet had gone dead. The Terran voice returned. "We warned you. This is still restraint." The human ships took the Empire's fleet without a single shot. Every soldier was captured. They were brought aboard, treated well, given food, and shown the same images as the farmer on the moon still. The Empire refused to believe. Back on the capital world, the Emperor received the report. It was simple. Fleet gone. All lives spared. Humans say this is restraint. The Emperor stared at the word. It echoed in his mind, again and again. His empire was dying, not from fire, but from fear, confusion, and silence. Governors no longer obeyed. Colonies began to call themselves free zones. Some even sent messages to the humans asking for help. They didn't trust the Empire anymore. They trusted the Terrans. People painted stars on their homes. A child wore a shirt with the Earth symbol on it. In the markets, traders began to copy Terran tech. Human music played on alien radios. The Empire was cracking from inside, and still. The humans hadn't taken a single world by force. They were winning by doing less. Finally, the Emperor agreed to a meeting. He sent a message to Earth. "I will speak with your leaders. No tricks, no traps." The humans replied quickly. "We accept. One ship will come. Only one." A few days later, a small Terran ship landed on the Empire's capital. It had no weapons, no guards. Just one person stepped out, a human man with gray hair and calm eyes. He bowed. "Thank you for agreeing to talk." The Emperor met him in a quiet room. No crowd, no cameras. "What do you want?" The Emperor asked. The human sat down and smiled. "We want peace. We offered it before. Your people fired first. We answered. But we did not destroy. The Emperor frowned. Why not? You had the power? The human leaned forward. Because we are not like you. We don't measure strength by how much we destroy. We measure it by how much we protect. The Emperor stayed silent. The human continued. We have the technology to end your empire and ours. But that would make us no better than the ones who used to laugh at Earth. He stood. This is your last chance. Rebuild your empire with peace. Share the stars. Watch your power turn into dust. Then he left outside. The sky was still. Dark, but the stars seemed closer. And for the first time in centuries, the Emperor felt small. For 2 days after the meeting, the Emperor did not speak to anyone. He walked alone in his gardens, deep in thought. He had ruled the empire for decades. He had crushed rebellions, won wars, and forced hundreds of systems to kneel. But now, everything was slipping away because of a species he once laughed at. He thought about the human. Envoy's words, rebuild your empire with peace, or watch your power turn into dust. Dust, a word so soft, but it now echoed in the Emperor's ears like thunder. He called a secret meeting with his closest advisors. Only a few remained loyal. Most had run or switched sides. Some even disappeared. But a few stood beside him in the palace war room, staring at the dark star maps. We are losing everything, one advisor said quietly. Not through weapons. Not through war. We are losing because no one fears us anymore. Another nodded. They fear the Terrans now. The Emperor raised his hand. Then we must do the one thing they don't expect. The others looked at him with confusion. We surrender, he said. Shock spread across the room. Your Majesty, one general whispered. We surrender, he repeated. Not because we are weak, but because we need to survive. If we keep fighting, we lose the entire galaxy. But if we step back, if we change, maybe we still have a place. The decision was hard, painful, but deep inside, the Emperor knew it was the only path forward. Not everyone agreed. Parts of the military protested. Riots broke out in a few cities. Some commanders refused the orders, but others listened. Governors in outer systems signed peace messages. Traders opened channels with human colonies. And for the first time in centuries, the empire began to change, not with blood, but with choice. The Emperor sent a formal message to Earth. We are ready to talk, not as rulers, not as enemies, as equals. The reply came quickly. We accept. Neutral world was chosen for the talks, not a human planet, not an imperial one. It was an old station left behind by a long-dead race. Floating between stars, forgotten by time, it now became a meeting place for something historic. The Terran envoy returned. This time, he brought a team, not soldiers, but diplomats, scientists, and engineers. The Empire did the same. They met. Across a long table in a silent room, there was no shouting. No demands, just quiet voices, simple questions, and calm answers that Terrans offered help technology to clean air and water, food that grew faster, medicine that healed faster. They did not ask for land or gold or control. They only asked, for one thing, never attack first again. The Empire agreed. But peace was not accepted by all. Some in the Empire called it a trick. They believed the humans were only pretending, waiting for a chance to strike. A group of rogue admirals broke away from the main fleet. They stole old warships and planned to restart the fight. They called themselves the Iron Sons. They believed war made the Empire strong. They were wrong. The Iron Sons attacked a small human outpost near the edge of neutral space. It was peaceful, no weapons. Just scientists and farmers. They destroyed it before the Empire could respond. The Terrans acted. They didn't send a fleet. They sent one ship. It arrived above the Iron Sons. Base like a shadow, the base fired everything. It had nothing touch the Terran ship. Then it activated a field. Every weapon on the base stopped. Every system turned off. Every camera, every light, every sound gone. The rogue admirals were captured. The humans didn't harm them. They returned them to the Empire with a message. We do not destroy, but we do not forget. The Emperor watched the message on his screen. He sat quietly for a long time. Then he turned to his advisors. "We have one more thing to do," he said. "We must show the galaxy we mean peace." They agreed, and so a ceremony was planned, on the same old station where peace talks began. A new alliance was to be signed. It's not just between Earth and the Empire, but between any species that wanted to join. A new name was chosen. The Harmony Pact. It would not be ruled by one race. It would be guided by unity and fairness. Every voice would matter. The galaxy watched with wide eyes from distant worlds. Old enemies sent envoys from broken colonies. People traveled just to see it happen. And then, on a clear day, with stars shining through the glass roof of the station, the Emperor of the once-feared Empire stood beside the Terran envoy. They both placed their hands on the agreement and signed. Cheers filled the air. Not just from the station, but from ships across space. It's watching the moment live, back on Earth. Children laughed and pointed at the screens on Imperial worlds. Soldiers lowered their weapons, and in the dark, quiet corners of the galaxy, where pain and war had once ruled, hope was born. But the story wasn't over. The humans had changed the galaxy, but something else was watching from even farther away. In a distant star system, unknown to both the Empire and Earth, a new signal woke up. It came from an ancient machine buried deep in the crust of a dead planet. Its red eye blinked once, and then again. Somewhere in the silence, a voice whispered, "They are ready." The galaxy was changing. Old rivalries were fading, and new alliances were forming. After the signing of the Harmony Pact, there was a strange silence, one filled not with fear, but with peace. For the first time in centuries, warships stayed in their docks. Leaders of different species sat together and shared ideas. Humans helped rebuild cities that weren't theirs. The Empire, once feared for its power, was now respected for its choice to surrender with dignity. But far away, beyond known space, something stirred. On a dead world, covered in black stone and broken metal, an old machine had awakened. It was buried deep under the surface, hidden for thousands of years. No one remembered who built it. No one remembered why. The red light in its core blinked again. A voice inside the machine spoke in a language older than stars. "The test is complete. The Terrans are ready." The machine sent a signal through the void, passed through radiation clouds, wormholes, and ancient satellites. It reached a part of the galaxy that had no name on any map. There, something opened a gate. Not made of metal, but of pure energy, shimmered in space like a tear in reality. And from that gate, something began to come through. Back near the center of the galaxy, on the old station where peace had begun, the Terran envoy stood with a group of scientists. They were examining a new energy reading, something strange that had never appeared before. "This isn't natural," one of the scientists said. "It's not from this galaxy." The envoy narrowed his eyes. "Alert the Council on Earth." Alarms started to flash in the deep control centers. One of the ancient Watcher systems created to scan beyond the edge of known space was picking up a strange reading. The signal didn't match any known ship or race, and it was moving. Fast, on an imperial world, deep within a mining colony, a child looked up at the sky and saw something impossible. The stars seemed to bend. A hole appeared in the sky, silent, glowing, and growing, in minutes. Systems across the galaxy picked up the same thing. A gate had opened. The Terrans acted quickly. They didn't panic. They didn't run. Began to prepare, calmly, smoothly. This wasn't the first time they had faced the unknown. They had trained for it, waited for it, but the others, former enemies, old allies, they were not ready. The Emperor called the Terran envoy. "What is this?" he asked. The human replied, "We don't know yet. But we have one clue." He opened a file. Long ago, before humans joined the galaxy, they found something on a dark moon near Earth. It was a warning. It's a message written in an alien language. It said, "When the stars fall silent and peace begins, the Watchers will come. Only the strong will stand. Only the united will survive." "We always thought it was myth," the envoy added. "Now we think it was a message left by those who fought them before." The Emperor stood slowly. "You think this? Watcher force is coming now?" "Yes," the human said. and we're the ones who woke them. The Terrans called for a meeting. Every leader, every captain, every scientist from every species was invited. On the station above the Harmony Ring, the largest council in galactic history gathered. The Terran envoy stood in the center. He spoke. In a calm, clear voice, "We never wanted war. We only acted when pushed. But what comes now is not a war of anger. It is a test." He showed the footage of the gate still glowing, still expanding. Something is coming through. Something old. Something powerful. We don't know what it wants, but we believe it sees our peace as a signal. And now we must stand together. The Empire's representatives stood. "We will fight beside you." Other species followed. Even those who once feared humans now saw them as protectors. Ships were called from every corner. Engineers from different races worked side by side. Terrans shared their most advanced systems, including silence fields, fold drives, and energy shields, but this time it wasn't a human fleet. It was a galactic fleet, united. Ready when the first Watcher vessel came through the gate? It did not look like a ship. It was a shape of light and shadow. Its surface changed every second. It didn't fire weapons. It just moved forward, and systems shut down behind it. The galactic fleet responded. They didn't fire right away. They tried to. "Talk. This is a peaceful galaxy," the Terran envoy said. "We have made peace. We wish no harm." The Watcher vessel did not answer. Instead, smaller units broke off and moved in strange patterns. One ship touched an Imperial cruiser in seconds. It was inside. The crew lost control. The lights blinked. The ship turned against the fleet. It had been taken. The battle began. It was not like other battles. No explosions, no dogfights. The Watchers didn't use missiles or lasers. They used signals, data, and strange energy pulses. But this time, the Terrans were ready. They activated a new system, something developed in secret for years. They called it the Echo. Field it bounced the Watcher signals back. It confused their patterns. It slowed their advance. The Imperial ships created barriers. Other species launched support drones. And in the middle of it all, the Terran ships stood like anchors holding the line. One Watcher ship broke through. It headed straight for the station where the leaders had gathered. But before it reached them, a single Terran ship flew forward. It didn't fire it, it just opened a channel. "If you want peace, you must see us." The ship broadcast images of humans helping aliens, of enemies shaking hands, of old ruins rebuilt, of children playing on worlds once at war. The Watcher ship stopped then. It pulled back. Others followed. The gate began to shrink, and then it closed. Silence returned. The galaxy waited for hours. There was no sign of the Watchers. Then a final signal came. Simple, strange, but clear. "You passed." Cheers broke out on every world. Leaders hugged. Ships flashed their lights in celebration. And across space, the name Terran no longer meant war. It meant unity. The Emperor of the Empire stood beside the Terran envoy. He looked at the stars and whispered, "This time we stood together." And the human replied with a smile, "Yes." And that made all the difference.